God. This dude twice tried to cheat pocket watchers, TK. Twice.
I love that segment.
Oh man.
How much did you hear LeBron James earnings?
614 million. Is that what it is?
Well, no, KC
that's what I put.
KC wrote
that's what I put.
Wrote 674 million.
14.
581.3 million will be his career earnings if he opts in next year for 52 or signs a deal in the vicinity of 52 million.
That's a lot of money, man. And then you add that to what he's made with endorsements, Nike, the lifetime contract there. He was doing Sprite. I mean, he's got to have made $1 billion for sure.
Oh, he's a billionaire for sure.
Yeah, I saw that list the other day of he's one of the 22 black billionaires in the world.
Did Tiger crack a billionaire? Tiger was a billionaire, right?
I feel like he was.
I don't know that.
No?
I don't know that. I don't have that information available.
Okay.
Jordan, Tiger, 1.3 billion.
Tiger was the first to earn $1 billion.
Tiger was the first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Magic.
The first black American ever?
No, I think athlete.
Oh, athlete.
Magic.
Oprah definitely beat Tiger.
I was gonna say I don't. Yeah, that would have shocked me.
Magic 1.6 billion. LeBron 1.2 billion.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Jordan at 3.5 billion.
What's Serena got?
She not on.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know as many.
Oprah's at 3.0. Yeah. Magic is above. Jordan's above Oprah.
What year is that? What year is that?
I think it's this year.
Oh, okay. He got his Hornets payout then. He got his Hornets payout. He got a little more liquid cash after dumping off one of his worst assets.
Tiger got to $1 billion in 2009.
Wow. That's amazing. TK, we were just talking about Joel.
Yeah.
That's what started all this. Joel's due to make
300 more.
Yeah.
299.5 over the next 5 years. I told you guys this. I sat there on my mama's deck and I told you when he said, I remember it clear as day. I don't know if you guys remember. And it was, how do you feel about Joel? And I said, I don't know. It depends. Does he hire my guy? Does he hire my guy to keep his body right? If he doesn't, this thing is going downhill. And I think I even said they should trade him now. That I would not pay him that money and I would trade him. Now you really can't trade him. Now you're stuck with a $300 million albatross.
I mean, I was on the same boat as you, Trysta. I said 2 years ago, they need to start having, it didn't have to be public, but you need to secretly start having some conversations about what you could get for him in the open market. And not only did they not do that, for whatever reason, they signed him to an extension. That's the one I don't get.
That doesn't make any sense.
I think there was 2 years left on that deal, or maybe a year or something, and they signed him to an extension. Why?
They didn't have to.
They signed him to the extension.
I think that the Sixers are probably have in their history of the process some of the worst franchise setting back situations that I've ever seen in sports. Ben Simmons was god awful. You know, Jahlil Okafor god awful. The Markelle Fultz pickup over Jason Tatum when you literally traded to get the number 1 overall pick.
That's Sacramento King Markelle Fultz, by the way.
Sacramento King, yep, Sacramento King legend Markelle Fultz.
That's right.
Legend. It's just getting worse and worse. The Paul George pickup as well looks horrible. You know, the Joel Embiid extension looks horrible. Tyrese Maxey, if it wasn't for Joel Embiid and Paul George looking crazy right now, we would be talking about, is Tyrese Maxey one of them ones? Is Tyrese Maxey actually a guy right now who can take over and get you wins? Or is he like a really good Robin? Or even maybe like whatever the third, an Alfred, you know, is he an Alfred because right now with games where Joel Embiid and Paul George don't play, which there are many, it's not like they're winning any games. This is a team that's just clawing and fighting to maybe get somewhere close to the play-in tournament. And Paul George is saying, "Hey, I don't even think we're a competitive team right now. We can't even muster up that piece to compete on a night-to-night basis with teams like the Charlotte Hornets and and so on and so forth."
Just a quick note. The WNBA just announced Diana Taurasi is retiring. For my
Dusty
money,
Bones, she did it.
she did it.
Dusty Bones said, "I'm out of here." They pushed her
For
out.
my money, the greatest women's basketball player of all time.
Mm.
Diana's the one.
She's the truth.
I feel like I would really get along with DT.
I can see that.
I
Diana,
feel like we would be talking some boy.
yes, that's what all Diana does. But she does it like in the 4-letter variety.
Yeah,
You gotta
that's like me, uncensored. I love DT. I love DT. She like that South Central LA swag that she's got, or maybe she's IE. I don't know. Is she in the
Well,
Inland
shout out
Empire?
to Katie Christensen. She dropped a nugget last night. I didn't know this.
Hmm.
The greatest player to come out of Chino Hills High School.
Wow.
You didn't know she went to Chino Hills?
I did not know.
Oh,
she
yeah.
went to Chino Hills.
Yeah.
That's
Did
a
Paul
crazy
George
little.
go to Chino Hills?
Huh?
Did Paul George go to Chino Hills?
No, he's from Pomona.
Oh, okay.
Or Palmdale, excuse me, not Pomona. He's from Palmdale. But that's a pretty damn good 4 basketball players to come out of Chino Hill. The Ball brothers and Diana Taurasi. That's crazy. And old boy from oh my goodness, from Atlanta that went to USC, the center. He played with the Ball brothers too. It's pretty good.
Phoenix must have said something to her like, "Hey, your role is diminishing." Because remember she tweeted maybe like 2-3 months ago, "Run it back one more" with the snake emoji.
Oh, I didn't know she did that. I didn't even know Diana had a Twitter account.
Yeah, she tweeted something like,
if Diana has a Twitter account, I guarantee you she does not tweet from it.
"You don't think so?"
No chance. Absolutely none.
The snake emoji.
What are you doing? Like, this is what are you trying out a new microphone? You've never this you are.
Yes.
Oh, you sound great.
That's one of the interview points.
Your nails look good too. It allows
Thank
us
you.
to see your nails.
Yeah.
It looks
this connects to the phone and it's Bluetooth. And but when I clip it, it doesn't sound as good. So
I see.
if I was to clip it and just leave it there, we can try, but it doesn't sound as good, I don't think. How's that?
It's great.
Good.
Okay.
It's perfect.
We'll do that then.
Yeah, TK working on some things over there.
I
didn't know Trysta or I didn't Trista's not retiring. Diana's retiring. I didn't know she tweeted about coming back. That would have surprised me because I don't think this Phoenix team is very good. She actually told Time Magazine she's retiring. That's one I haven't seen before.
Phoenix made some moves, right? They got Satu Sabali.
Good look.
And
Brittany's gone, right?
Yeah, Brittany's gone. They got Alyssa Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually like shaping up to be a little squad. Who else did they get that was a guard there? The WNBA free agency has been a little hectic. There was one more player I want to say that they were able to grab that was a guard as well. So I think that there's probably like just some, "Hey Diana, we're going another direction." They want to move fast. They want to play this new style. So yeah, I'm fascinated to see how this goes.
Yeah, and you can't move fast anymore. So let's go ahead and
your cartilage is.
I mean, they handled it. Like I thought she would get the tour, even though that's not really her bag. But they handled it in the last game. Like Sue was there. They did the big presentation. She had Penny and the whole family was out. So she went out right. Yeah. She went out right. It was a good look. It was a good look.
Am I cutting in and out? Am
Nope.
I good? Is my service good? Okay. Why is you guys' energy kind of low today? I feel this energy's a little low.
No.
Last time I got on this, I was in Vegas and Kenny stormed off the set.
Is that what happened?
Well,
you
you had a basketball game to go to. You didn't actually do that.
When you
No,
were
you
done.
didn't.
I thought you meant
Yeah,
while you
yeah,
were
yeah.
here.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. You actually had just
No,
basketball. I'm just
you
being
were
messy.
he was upset by your player profile and he quit and he made me do the
Yeah,
show by
I'm just
myself.
being
I had to do 2 shows
messy.
by myself. Just being ridiculous.
I'm
Did
just
you
being
watch
messy.
T-Wolves and Thunder last night?
I turned it off because they were
So
down
did
30.
we. So did we.
I'm like, I'm not watching a game where they're getting blown out by 30. And then I checked X or whatever, and I'm like, they just won that game?
Yeah.
Did you guys
That's
see what Chris Finch said afterwards? He was like,
Chris Finch.
they foul every time, but we can't touch Shea. We can't touch him. Very frustrating. Do you guys think that Shea gets superstar calls? Do you think he's like unable to be tapped at all? Pause.
I wonder how much they've built like a reputation for him where like, oh, he's gonna get fouled. And so referees just they he got fouled. Like you just call differently.
Yeah, I mean that could be the case. I think a lot of the times he gets fouled more than I think Chris Finch puts on. Like, yeah, literally gets fouled or he baits people on the fouls. The one thing that I don't like that he does, and they give him the credit for, is like driving to the basket, a little bit of contact. He goes flailing in the opposite way, putting the shot up, and they give him that call. They do that to a lot of these guys, a lot of these superstar guys. And I don't like that. I think that's whack, especially when it doesn't go the other way. When they dip that shoulder into the defender's chest, that's never called an offensive foul. You know what I mean? But if you have a forearm on their hip and you give a little nudge and they go flying, then all of a sudden that's a foul. So I think he's guilty of that often.
Do you guys think that the push off is like not called enough?
On a drive?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh no, like I don't feel like that's hardly ever called.
Yeah.
You almost have to
you have to almost like fully extend,
like shove.
You have to
Yeah.
snap your elbow in order for that. If that was not an offensive foul when I was playing, I would have been using that. What? Like, I didn't know until I was like in my 20s. I didn't think ever about like creating contact. I never thought like, oh, I can create space by creating contact for myself.
Right.
I just don't think like women were overall in every city in America had as great of like skills training and basketball IQ type coaches. Like my head coach was like the social studies teacher, you know? He was just some guy that also coached. He was just a random dude. He didn't teach us anything ever.
Yeah.
I had to learn everything myself.
But was that the case at your high school? Because
It
it wasn't mine. Mine was the history teacher.
My coach in high school was the PE teacher at a middle school. Shout out Coach Klopp.
But not your school?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a PE teacher at Einstein Middle School. And then the girls' coach, Mr. Tahara, he was a PE teacher. And Tahara was a legend. So Harvey Tahara is an absolute legend coaching here in high school. But he did a great job with the boys. I'm not sure what happened, but maybe a couple years before I got there, he left the boys' game. I don't think he was coaching either one for a little while. Then he went to the girls' side and won more championships. So, yeah, it usually was that though. Like, and even then, like you had your teacher or whatever, or excuse me, your coach, and that's all they really did. You didn't have your trainer and the skills clinic and all this other stuff like that. That wasn't it. You go outside and you go to Reichmuth or 10th and P, and that's when you play. You know what I'm saying? Like we wasn't doing the skills training stuff. So a lot of that has definitely elevated both sides, men's and women's game.
Yeah, if I had 94 feet a game, if I had a phone like a smartphone and 94 feet a game, which is Phil Handy's app, just teaching me all these different skills Like he has so much stuff in there, hundreds of little drills that you can do. I never learned any of that. Everything was just based on playing doors with a bunch of Crips. Like how can you get buckets against the Crips? That
How
was
can
it.
you win before so the
Now
Crips
they
don't
love
beat you
me.
up?
How do you get buckets against the Crips?
I mean, I just went further out. I just had range.
Mm.
And then I had this move that I would run. I would sort of like drive to the lane, but like 15 feet away from the basket. So they thought I was just kind of going to the corner. And then I had like a hook that would just fly over their head. They didn't even see it coming.
But
They didn't
see,
even know it was happening. Swat.
here's the great thing about that though, is people like yourself, myself, we just learned how to play basketball. We learned how to get creative with different ways to score. Nowadays, these kids, because all they do is drills, they just know how to do a move. And if that move don't work, they don't know what else to do. They're like, well, this is what I've been working on for the last 3 months. This Euro doesn't get me over. Like, what do I do now? Like, they're not creative, is basically what I'm saying, because it's so pigeonholed in the workout setting as opposed
There
to
are
going out.
NBA players like that too,
Yeah,
like the Pure Sweats, the Drew Hanlons of the world. Like they teach them. Remember when Andrew Wiggins was locking up Jason Tatum because they both used the same skills trainer, so they knew it was almost like a choreographed dance that Tatum was doing. It wasn't like he was trying to really like think, react. He had a whole sort of combination that he was doing in order to quote unquote get open or get a shot off. And Andrew Wiggins is like, I know exactly what you're about to do. I can get to your spot before you do.
mhm.
And he was locking Tatum's ass up. You
They
guys
don't
remember
play
that
enough.
in the finals?
Absolutely. They don't play enough basketball nowadays, man. They gotta go out there and play. Play. You gotta play.
What do you mean?
They just work out. They don't play games and stuff like that.
Who's they?
Kids,
Kids
Kids?
these days.
prospects, all that. They don't go out to the park, go to the open runs and
Oh,
play a lot of basketball. They go to their workout
uh-huh.
and they get their
And the
shots
games
up.
they play with the same people over and over and over again.
Mhm. And it just helps your creativity and your imagination and your problem solving skills.
You're
outside of
saying
the
they need to
basketball.
go play with some Crips.
Well, that
Yes.
I was gonna say that would help out, but it depends on
Hmm.
it depends.
Yeah. What did the Crips call you when you would come to the playground to play?
Little tree.
Little Tree. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Little Tree out here
I
getting
thought
buckets on the
I thought she
Crips.
was gonna
Or
say,
like little mama. Little mama's out here.
"What up, Krista?"
Did Portland have a lot of Crips?
Yeah.
Or a lot of
Yeah.
gangs?
Yeah. I think that's the thing that like Portland has a really interesting reputation, right? Because Portlandia came out, and so it kind of feels like, oh, it's just granola. People are putting a bird on it, and they're asking if these chickens are free range and organic, and it's just all these vegan cafes and smoothies. But when I think in the early 90s, a bunch of people moved from LA to come to Portland. Real estate was cheaper, the the empire could be grown like in Snowfall, like it was kind of like that mode. So my neighborhood was a rolling 60s neighborhood. That was what it
Mm.
was. So like the majority of gang activity in my neighborhood were Crips. And so that was we had like probably 10, 15 people who were affiliated living in our little tiny part of the neighborhood. And so our park, Farragut Park, was like the Crip Park. So when you would go there, you didn't want to go there if you were blood affiliated. And actually, what was crazy was across the street from my house. I don't know if I've ever told this story to you guys on the air, but across the street from my house, I don't know what he was thinking, but homie, a blood moved in, and he
Oh,
had this this cherry red Camaro that he would wash outside of my like across the street from my house all the time. And my sister had a little crush on him. He had like a fade with like a little S curl. And he would always wash his car with his shirt off. So I was maybe in 6th grade, 6th or 7th grade, and I hear a knock on my first bedroom before I moved down to the basement was basically facing the front of the house, facing the street, and it was a big picture window with a tree in front of it. And I get this knock on the window at like 2 a.m, and it's him covered in blood, just
Oh.
just absolutely covered in blood. And I'm like screaming at my mom, "What should I do? What should I do?" She's like, "We're not letting this guy in. Are you insane? Whatever is going on with him is not going on with us." But like the story that was sort of told after the fact, and he actually lived, shockingly, is that his girlfriend set him up and said that she wanted him to go and get a comb and like hair product from her car whenever she was doing his hair in the middle of the night. He goes out to her car to get her stuff and gets shot up by a bunch of Crips from the neighborhood. And so he went, when I went to school the next day, you could see his handprint on every door for blocks. His knuckle print and his handprint, and then blood on the sidewalk and on everybody's like front steps for months. Like it took, that was what was shocking to me, is it took so long for the rain to wash the blood away. It was crazy. Not like the most fun story on a Tuesday, but like that was like a very formative experience for me.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Mhm.
So yeah, Portland more than you think, you know.
I have
Big
no
sis,
follow up.
Big sis like them thugs.
Big sis liked the thugs. Yeah, she did. She really did.
Sis like them thugs.
Yeah. Now she's moved on to the MAGA bros.
Well,
Sad day.
all right.
Sad day. Sad day.
We're just gonna end this because I don't
We're
know.
just ending it. We're
I don't
gonna
know.
end it like that. I feel like that's
Well,
kind
I don't
of
know. Do you
sad.
want to go back to like SGA and fouling? Like, do you want to talk about the Kings beating the Hornets last night?
Speaking of
I'm
a
not-
bloodbath,
I'm
speaking
not.
of a bloodbath, the Kings beat the S out of the Hornets.
Well,
Zach
that would have
LaVine
felt
put up
insensitive.
40 plus points in the most bubblegum buckets. If you want, people ask me, what are
Oh,
oh, that
bubblegum
was foul.
buckets?
That's foul. That's
What
foul.
are
That's
bubblegum
hate.
buckets, Trista? Tell us
That's
what they
hate,
are.
Tristan. See,
What are
Krick, that's
cotton
sister.
candy buckets? That's Zach LaVine putting up 42 to a bottom feeder team like the Charlotte Hornets.
That's hate. That's hate, TK. That's hate. Let that man put
Do
up.
that against the Houston Rockets. Put up
Let him
42
put
against the
42 up in
Rockets.
peace, man. Let him do that in peace.
He does everything. That's the only time he produces is in peace.
Let me do it. Can I ask her a question? Or are we?
No, we're fine. We
Okay.
can keep going.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Zach LaVine isn't good, or you think he should be more than what he is? Because I think there's a difference.
I think good is so relative. I think Zach LaVine is one of the more skilled, beautiful basketball players that you can watch. He is a hooper. Zach LaVine loves to hoop. And I think in terms of what he can do on the basketball floor, it's not like a debate. He's very talented. He's very skilled. He's extremely athletic. He has all the tools. I just don't think he's a winning player based on whatever he has going on upstairs. I think in general his decision making is poor. When the pressure gets high, he crumbles. I don't think Zach LaVine has ever won at any level. He's an exhibition player. And you see that, like, at a time where a team is trying to make a playoff push, overwhelmingly he has been a disappointment. And the fact that you beat the hell out of the Charlotte Hornets and he has the most efficient game of his career as a Sacramento King is not shocking to me.
I always love how people just act like Zach LaVine didn't make the playoffs. It wasn't part of that Chicago team. Like it just doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. They were not a real team. They were not like a real contending team. Them just sneaking into the playoffs and being a 500 team and like nobody really was even checking for them like that. If Lonzo Ball would have stayed healthy and they would have stayed at like a 2 seed or a 3 seed or whatever they were in the Eastern Conference when he was healthy, and then they would have made a deep playoff run and Zach LaVine would have been the driving force of that, then Zach LaVine would be a completely different player. Zach LaVine wouldn't have the reputation that he has.
They were 10 games over 500, Tristan. They weren't 500.
Okay. And then what did they continue to do? Tell me the Bulls record for the last 4 years.
Probably wasn't that good, but he also was hurt last year, so there's that.
He was shut down. He was such a cancer on that team last year. He had to go. He was. He literally said, beginning of this year, I've done some soul searching. I've changed as a player. Like, they were so ready to ship him out. The people who worked for the Bulls were like, yeah, it's getting very uncomfortable with Zach.
Oh
He's
yeah, because they're
pushing
just
the
great
PR
decision
woman.
makers.
What'd you say?
They always do. They're just great decision makers. They're very trustworthy and they have the
No.
greatest idea of what good basketball is about. The
Oh,
Chicago.
I agree. I don't think that they've made any good decisions. Like Kobe White, they sort of just lucked into Kobe White, and there was not a lot of pressure for Kobe White to produce either. But like Patrick Williams, like what has he done? I don't think they can develop talent. I don't think they know what they're doing at all. I don't think they can construct a roster. I don't think they know how to find guys and trade. Obviously, the Vooch trade was terrible in terms of how many draft picks they traded for him and how like underwhelming he has been. Like that team and decision makers, Arturas Karnisovas as a general manager, I don't trust him at all. Mark Eversley, the fact that he got a look from another NBA franchise makes no damn sense. Like, I'm not saying that the Bulls know what they're doing in terms of the decision makers, but people on the PR side told me, yeah, he's not a guy that you like really enjoy having on your team.
Maybe
They weren't a part of it. What was it?
Maybe he's gotten better. Maybe
And
he
that is
did do some
possible.
soul searching.
I think people can always change. Do you guys think, like, truthfully, do you think a guy can just, how many years has Zach been in the league?
10 years, 10,
Okay.
10, 11 years.
So do you think a guy can 10 years in completely change the type of player they are to become clutch and to become a guy who wants to have the ball down the stretch and be that one? Or do you think he can or cannot?
I mean, I think it's kind of who you are for the most part, but as far as being clutch and wanting the ball in certain situations, I don't know. I've seen games where Zach LaVine has been clutch. I've seen games where he's disappeared, late in games where he's not a perfect player, but I've seen him want the ball in late game situations, make the shot, miss the shot, whatever. He's not completely incapable of it. Is what I would say.
No. Yeah, I think 11 years in, like, and maybe I'm misunderstanding Trista's question. I don't know if Trista's asking me if I think Zach LaVine can become. You said, do I think a player who has been in the league 11 years can suddenly develop a trait that they didn't have before? And I think the answer is no.
Do you think Zach LaVine has the clutch gene right now, Damian? Or do you think
No.
he's shown that in the 10 years in his career?
I don't think so, no. Like a clutch player, like, no, I've never thought that Zach LaVine is that.
Which is also like,
but I also think those are probably rarer than some,
there's like
give them credit
5
for.
in the history of the game. It feels like,
yeah. I mean, that might be a little excessive, but like, no, like, I mean, like Robert Ory's clutch player, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there are players who you can give them the ball late and they're good.
And even then, though, I don't want to say that's mythical or anything like that because I lived it. I watched the game and all this other stuff. But wasn't Kobe shooting like 24% in those situations? Like we look at him as a clutch guy. Like he don't miss. When in actuality, he misses at a high percentage in those moments.
Well, so does Jordan. Like no one cares about that. But we remember like the highlights, but they took 100 of those, 200 of those, 300 of those. We remember the one where you're jumping up at the foul line or you're doing the Tiger Woods fist pump. Like that's just what we remember because the misses don't get run.
But also we've seen players like, let's go back to De'Aaron Fox for a second. I've seen De'Aaron Fox in a fourth quarter hit multiple shots back to back to back, where you're going back and forth and back and forth. I've never seen that with Zach. I've seen that with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I've definitely seen Damian Lillard have a cold first half, third quarter bad. All of a sudden, the game is tight and it's the fourth quarter and he catches fire. I don't see Zach ever like catch fire because the game's offline.
But the problem with like incorporating De'Aaron's name into that is I've seen De'Aaron disappear for stretches of a season.
Yes.
And that's why you can't like you don't have to put Zach LaVine in this conversation if you want to, but neither one of them belong in a conversation with SGA or Dame Lillard.
I agree. I would just say, and I think there's probably something psychological to that, where like guys just check out. Harden has a reputation of just checking out, right? Kevin
Mhm.
Durant has, and Kyrie Irving have reputations of, like, Kyrie Irving is like, I've seen him
Y-
continuously give us
Yep.
clutch moments. Just the other day when he was playing against the Warriors,
Yeah.
and then he took the
Kyrie
charge.
Irving, Kyrie Irving hit one of the biggest shots in NBA history.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
And Kyrie, a week ago, I saw him miss multiple shots down the stretch against the Kings.
I saw Kyrie beat the Kings in a game that the Mavericks weren't trying to win.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you mentioned with Jordan and everything, when it happens, we remember it.
Yeah.
In actuality, Kyrie's probably shooting less than 25% in those
Mhm.
situations. Like he's missing a vast majority of those shots. But I'm part of it. We romanticize the Kobe's and the Carmelos and Kyries and all these other guys because they give us those moments.
Well, and I think it's also like emotional from a viewing standpoint too. When I see Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan with the ball in the fourth quarter, I'm ready to pull my hair out. I'm audibly. Damien knows this. He saw this. I'm audibly saying no, please don't, because
Throwing sushi at the big screen.
whatever Kobe was shooting, you guys are shooting worse. Okay, like if those are the most, if Kyrie and Kobe and Jordan, they're the much Damian Lillard, they're the clutchest guys that we, in that category. Like, those other guys are way worse than that, and they don't even necessarily want the ball. Like, that's part of it. Is
I,
can you take over consistently to the point where it's embedded in my mind? For some reason, it's not in my mind that that's him.
there's one handful of those people in the league right now.
Yes.
I don't think you can get to 7 guys that you feel comfortable with in those moments. Like this, like we're scrutinizing Zach LaVine because he's not one of the 5 to 7 people in the league. That's a little unfair.
Well, I think you are a Zach LaVine apologist. I think
No,
Zach
I
LaVine.
think you guys are a little too hard on Zach LaVine. Like, do you feel that way about Tatum?
Yes.
No. You feel
Yes.
no.
Oh.
No. Do you feel like Tatum is like this super clutch guy?
No, I do
Yeah,
not.
that's what I'm saying. You know, like name them on it. Luka, SGA, Trey Young. I'd put in that conversation.
Whoa.
I'd put Trey Young. At least he has those moments. I put
Yep.
Trey Young in those conversations.
Damian Lillard.
Jimmy Butler, Damian Lillard. I
Steph
think
Curry.
we're done.
Steph
Curry
Curry.
6. I put Kyrie in there. We're at 7.
I think Giannis to a degree.
Hell no. Giannis ain't never done that on a consistent basis.
LeBron.
LeBron.
No, he's 0 for his last 21.
Okay.
I'm just like
LeBron is one of them ones.
maybe
That's
you get
7.
to 10. Maybe you get to 10 in the whole league.
Kawhi.
And we're
Kawhi
like,
when healthy. Kawhi when healthy was that as well.
okay.
I got to be honest. I don't even know what conversation we're having anymore.
But the conversation
about
is like
players.
you're getting at Zach LaVine for something that's not common throughout the league and saying he's bad because he doesn't do this.
And it's because he doesn't close a game or he doesn't attack a game in the final minutes.
That's one of the reasons that were used.
And another reason is he doesn't attack the game in the fourth quarter or the third quarter, or sometimes the second quarter, or sometimes the first quarter. It's like he disappears for full games. And even when he's scoring, he had what, 32 that game against the Pelicans. I don't remember a single one of those buckets.
Well, he didn't have any in the fourth quarter. That's why you don't remember him.
Yeah.
That's when you started screaming at the television set. The fourth quarter and overtime. That's why we've got thrown out of McCooney's, was because you kept screaming at Zach LaVine to do something.
There's a difference. There's a massive difference between, oh, I want a guy that's taking the last shot down 2, and I want a guy that scores at all in the fourth quarter in a meaningful game. Like, those are two different things.
Do you believe in Dak Prescott?
No.
Okay, you're consistent.
I do not believe in Dak Prescott. No.
Well, this was fun.
This has been fun.
But there was a bloodbath last night. The Kings did, in fact, beat the Charlotte Hornets. Go ahead. Sorry.
That was it. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
I mean,
all right.
you
Well,
guys
Trysta
have any
still
other
hates
news?
TK,
You guys-
and TK, we got to figure out if that's you or not. On
I know, Damien, you heard it too, right? In
Mhm.
episode 3,
Mhm.
he thinks maybe the cadence is the part. So for anybody who's watching, in episode 3 of Court of Gold, there's
We got
some
like 30
pundits 10 minutes in talking about this Olympic team. And I remember making a video where I was like, they can't even play them all. And there's a part where that's what's said, but it feels like my vocals have been altered slightly. I was talking to Lawrence Holmes from 670 to Score. I didn't even tell him. He goes, same thing as you, Kenny. Texted me. I was on my iPad and I looked up and was like, is that Trysta? You guys let me know in the chatty house. Do you guys think that's me? Because it feels like it was me, but they didn't want me to get the ego boost from it.
The
You know?
residuals.
They wanted to
The
do like
cadence
the
is
AI
the
of
killer.
me.
The cadence is the killer. It's
Yeah.
like that's Trysta, but I don't know if it is.
Yeah.
There's just enough to where it's like that's Trysta, and then it's not. If it's not Trysta, who the hell is it? That's the other part.
AI
of it.
Trysta.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. We love you, TK. We'll come back. Steal with Casey on ESPN 1320.
Love y'all.
TK.
Dr. Davis said it was Trysta Kripp.
Trysta Crib.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt.
Put on his shirt. I got mixed in. They tried to mix me into the Crips. I had to run
She was
away.
affiliated.
They saw me with the New York Yankees house shoes.
No?
And they were like, oh, you're one of us, little homie? Oh, okay. Why don't we go down to the park and play some basketball at 2 a.m.? And I was like, no, I will not. Like, it's okay. It's fine. Let's go. And then, whap, swap. And I'm like, running.
Oh no.
Wow.
They tried to mix me in. Cuz.
Damn.
You've lived a life, man.
Oh my gosh.
People think that, the crazy thing, real fast. The crazy thing is that I don't know if you guys saw the photos of the braids from when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
Some person, James, on YouTube is spamming all the comments being like, that's not even her. That she doesn't even have brown undertones like that. She just took somebody's photo and just wants to be a culture vulture. I was
Brown
like,
undertones.
doesn't even have brown under. She can't even get tan like that. I was like, wow. It's a crazy world out here. Anyway, I'll see you guys.
See you, TK.
All right, Trysta.
See you. Bye.